Have you ever felt the sting of someone crossing your boundaries, undermining your worth, or simply refusing to respect you? We've all been there. And while it's tempting to react impulsively, there's a better way. In this video, we'll uncover mindful strategies rooted in Buddhist principles to handle such situations. From silence as a powerful answer to setting boundaries with grace, this journey will empower you to rise above negativity while staying true to yourself. Stay with us to learn how to handle disrespect without losing your peace, because as Buddha taught, hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. Number one, embrace the silent stare. Imagine this, you're in a meeting and someone keeps interrupting you, dismissing your contributions. Instead of reacting, you lean back, cross your arms, and offer a calm, steady stare. The room grows quiet, the tension rises. Suddenly, the disrespectful person becomes aware of their behavior. This is the silent stare, a mindful pause that speaks volumes. In Buddhist thought, silence is a reflection of inner clarity. It allows us to break the cycle of reactive energy. When someone seeks to provoke you, staying silent centers your energy and mirrors their actions back at them. Example: in one instance, a monk in a village faced insults from an angry farmer. The monk simply smiled and remained silent. Eventually, the farmer's rage dissipated, and he asked why the monk didn't react. The monk replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" Words can inflame, escalate, or entrench conflicts. Silence, on the other hand, has the power to disarm and diffuse. When you choose silence, you remove yourself from the energy of the conflict and assert control over the situation. This form of non-reactivity not only conveys strength, but also creates a space for reflection, both for you and the other person. Silence is not passive, it is an active choice. It can command respect. A silent stare exudes confidence and calmness. It signals that you are in control of your emotions. Create discomfort. For the provocateur, silence can be unsettling. It holds up a mirror to their behavior, often making them reconsider their approach. Provide clarity. While emotions can cloud judgment, silence creates a pause that allows you to think clearly before responding. Consider a heated debate where someone is trying to provoke you with personal attacks. Instead of retaliating, you remain silent, holding their gaze. Their words start to feel hollow, and others in the room may notice their hostility more than your restraint. The silent stare is a psychological tool. Its effectiveness lies in the discomfort it creates. When someone is confronted with silence, they often fill the void with their own self-reflection. This discomfort can lead to a realization of their own behavior and its consequences. Studies in nonverbal communication reveal that silence can convey authority, resolve, and confidence. Our brains are wired to seek patterns, and silence disrupts the expected flow of interaction. This disruption forces the provocateur to pause and recalibrate. For instance, in negotiation settings, silence can pressure the opposing party to reconsider their stance or make concessions. It shifts the dynamic from reactive to reflective. The silent stare requires practice and emotional control. Here are steps to master it. 1. Cultivate inner calm. Practice mindfulness or meditation to develop emotional resilience. A steady stare is only effective when it reflects genuine inner peace. 2. Maintain neutral body language. Lean back slightly, relax your shoulders, and keep your arms uncrossed unless crossing them feels natural. Avoid aggressive postures. 3. Direct your gaze. Look at the provocateur calmly but firmly. Avoid glaring or appearing confrontational. 4. Control your breathing. Slow, steady breathing will help you maintain composure and prevent visible signs of anger or frustration. 5. Set an intention. Before engaging, remind yourself of the purpose of your silence, whether it's to de-escalate, assert boundaries, or create space for reflection. While silence is powerful, it's essential to know when to break it. Use silence to de-escalate, but follow up with clear communication if needed. For instance, after the tension has eased, you might say, "I'd like to understand your perspective better," signaling a willingness to engage constructively. Conversely, silence may not be appropriate in situations requiring immediate intervention, such as addressing harmful behavior or supporting someone in distress. Guidelines for effective use. Conflict situations. Use silence to prevent escalation and maintain control. Power dynamics. Silence can assert authority in professional or social settings. Self reflection. Use silence as a personal tool to process emotions and gain clarity. Silence is not just a response to negativity, it's a way of life. Incorporating silent moments into your daily routine can enhance your emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. Practices like mindfulness meditation, journaling, or spending time in nature can help you develop a deeper appreciation for silence. Start your day with 5 minutes of silent meditation. Focus on your breath and let your thoughts settle. This practice will make it easier to remain composed and centered during challenging interactions. Real life applications of the silent stare. 1. In the workplace, imagine a colleague dismisses your idea during a meeting. Instead of reacting defensively, you remain silent and look at them calmly. This subtle act can shift the room's focus and highlight their behavior without confrontation. In personal relationships, during a heated argument with a loved one, silence can act as a reset button. It gives both parties time to cool down and approach the issue more rationally. 3. In public interactions, when faced with rudeness from a stranger, such as a customer service representative or a fellow commuter, silence, paired with a calm stare, can diffuse the situation without adding fuel to the fire. The silent stare is a profound tool for navigating conflicts and asserting emotional control. It's a testament to the power of restraint and the wisdom of non reactivity. By embracing silence, we can transform negative interactions into opportunities for growth and understanding. In a noisy world, let your silence speak louder than words. Number 2, harness the strength of silence. Disrespect often demands attention. When we deny it that energy, it loses its grip on us. Silence can be a powerful way to disengage from negative interactions, but it's not just about ignoring. It's about consciously deciding not to let someone else's negativity control your peace. This approach can be transformative, leading not only to personal empowerment, but also to a shift in how others perceive and interact with you. The ability to remain silent in the face of provocation is not weakness, but a profound demonstration of self-mastery. Silence has a unique ability to de-escalate conflicts. Words spoken in anger or frustration often amplify disagreements, whereas silence introduces a pause, allowing emotions to settle. When you respond to hostility with calm and composed silence, it sends a message of strength and control. It shifts the dynamic, forcing the aggressor to confront their own words and intentions without the distraction of an argument. Consider the story of a manager who faced unwarranted criticism during a meeting. Rather than retaliating, she chose to listen quietly, maintaining her composure. Her silence created an atmosphere of discomfort for the critic, who eventually faltered under the weight of their own words. Later, the manager's thoughtful, measured response not only diffused the situation, but also earned her respect from her peers. Silence can be unsettling because it's unexpected. People are often conditioned to anticipate immediate reactions, especially during heated exchanges. When silence replaces an anticipated response, it disrupts the cycle of negativity and creates space for reflection. The silence acts as a mirror, compelling others to evaluate their behavior. For instance, in personal relationships, arguments often spiral because both parties are focused on defending themselves. When one person chooses silence, it breaks this cycle. This moment of quiet can lead to a deeper understanding as emotions are given time to settle and both parties can approach the issue with a clearer perspective. Silence is not the absence of communication, but a different form of it. It's a nonverbal assertion of boundaries, values, and inner strength. In many cultures, silence is revered as a tool for introspection and wisdom. In Japan, the concept of ma refers to the meaningful pause or space in interactions, which is often more powerful than words. Silence can convey respect, authority, or even dissent, depending on the context. In professional settings, strategic silence can be a powerful negotiation tool. By pausing and allowing the other party to fill the gap, you can gain insights into their priorities and concerns. This technique often leads to more favorable outcomes as it demonstrates patience and confidence. A friend once criticized a young woman's career choice in public, expecting an emotional reaction. Instead, she smiled, nodded slightly, and said nothing. The silence spoke louder than any defense she could have mounted, leaving the critic unsettled and reflective. Later, the critic admitted that the lack of response made them question their own motives for the remark. This story exemplifies how silence can disarm negativity and prompt introspection. The value of silence is deeply rooted in spiritual practices. In Buddhism, the principle of right speech emphasizes speaking only when it's beneficial and true. Often, silence is the most mindful choice, as it prevents harm and cultivates inner peace. Similarly, in Christianity, the phrase, "be still and know that I am God," highlights the spiritual power of quietude. Silence allows individuals to connect with their inner selves, fostering clarity and wisdom. In Hinduism, the concept of mauna, or deliberate silence, is practiced as a form of self-discipline. By refraining from speech, practitioners conserve their energy and focus on introspection, ultimately achieving greater self-awareness. Practical steps to harness silence. 1. Pause before responding. When faced with provocation, take a moment to breathe and assess whether a response is necessary. 2. Practice active listening. Sometimes, silence is about giving others the space to express themselves fully. Listen without planning your reply. 3. Set boundaries. Use silence to assert boundaries. If someone is being disrespectful, your lack of response can signal that their behavior is unacceptable. 4. Embrace solitude. Regularly spend time in silence to recharge and reflect. This practice strengthens your ability to remain calm in challenging situations. 5. Use silence strategically. In negotiations or discussions, allow pauses to emphasize your points and encourage others to reveal more. Choosing silence often requires more courage than speaking out. It's an act of self-control and a refusal to be dragged into negativity. Silence doesn't mean surrendering your power. Rather, it's about wielding it wisely. When you choose not to engage in trivial arguments or respond to unwarranted criticism, you're prioritizing your peace and dignity. Great leaders understand the value of silence. They use it to listen, reflect, and make informed decisions. Silence in leadership is not about being passive, but about being thoughtful. A leader who remains silent in a heated discussion can command attention and respect, signaling that they're carefully considering all perspectives. One famous example is Abraham Lincoln, who was known for his thoughtful silences. He often paused before responding, allowing himself time to think and ensuring that his words carried weight. This approach earned him a reputation as a wise and measured leader. While silence is powerful, it's essential to strike a balance. There are moments when speaking up is necessary, especially to advocate for oneself or others. The key is to discern when silence serves you best and when words are required. Silence should never be used to avoid addressing important issues, but rather as a tool to navigate them with grace. Harnessing the strength of silence is about reclaiming control over your reactions and interactions. It's a deliberate choice to rise above negativity and focus on what truly matters. Silence is not emptiness. It's a space filled with intention, wisdom, and power. By mastering the art of silence, you're not only protecting your peace, but also inspiring others to reflect and grow. Number 3, stop explaining yourself. How often do we feel compelled to justify our decisions? Whether it's career choices, personal boundaries, or life paths, the need to explain often stems from insecurity or the desire to appease others. Yet, as Buddhism teaches, your life's direction is yours alone to navigate. The more you explain yourself, the more you open yourself up to unnecessary judgment, criticism, or unwarranted advice. Releasing this habit is liberating, allowing you to live more authentically. One of the primary reasons people feel the urge to explain their decisions is the subconscious need for validation. Society conditions us to seek approval, whether from family, friends, or colleagues. This need, however, can become a heavy burden. When you constantly justify your actions, you give away your power, allowing others to dictate your worth or determine if your choices are right or wrong. For example, imagine a woman choosing to remain child-free in a culture that celebrates motherhood. She may feel the need to defend her decision, citing career goals, personal freedom, or environmental concerns. However, these explanations are unnecessary. Her choice is valid simply because it's hers. The act of not explaining yourself can be profoundly empowering. Consider the story of a young man who left a high-paying corporate job to pursue mindfulness and meditation. When questioned about his decision, he replied, "Because it feels right for me." This simple response closed the door to further scrutiny, reinforcing his boundaries and self-trust. This approach aligns with the teachings of the Dhammapada, which states, "Do not look for approval, but live your truth." When you focus on living authentically, you reduce the noise of external opinions and cultivate inner peace. Explaining yourself often blurs the boundaries you set for your well-being. For instance, declining an invitation with a simple, "I'm not available," is sufficient. Adding reasons such as work stress or family obligations invites further questioning or, worse, unwanted advice. By keeping your responses concise and firm, you communicate self-respect and decisiveness. Over-explaining can also lead to overthinking. When you detail your reasons for a decision, you're essentially asking others to evaluate it. Their feedback, whether positive or negative, may cause you to doubt yourself. This cycle can erode your confidence over time. For instance, consider someone who decides to switch careers later in life. If they feel compelled to justify this decision to every friend or family member, they might begin second-guessing their choice. However, if they simply state their intention and move forward, they preserve their mental clarity and conviction. Cultural norms often amplify the pressure to explain ourselves. In collectivist societies, decisions are frequently seen as communal matters. Even in individualistic cultures, the fear of being misunderstood or judged can compel us to explain our choices. Take the example of someone choosing to embrace minimalism. Friends and family may question their decision to downsize or give away possessions. Instead of explaining, a minimalist might say, "This is what works for me right now." Such a response respects their truth while subtly challenging societal norms. Practical strategies to stop explaining. 1. Practice saying less. Get comfortable with concise responses. Instead of detailing your reasons, use phrases like, "This is what I've decided," or "It's a personal choice." These statements assert your autonomy without inviting debate. 2. Understand your triggers. Reflect on why you feel the need to explain. Is it fear of judgment, a desire to please? Understanding your triggers can help you respond more mindfully. 3. Build self-trust. The more confident you are in your decisions, the less you'll feel the need to explain them. Journaling or meditation can strengthen your self-awareness and resolve. 4. Set clear boundaries. Decide in advance how much information you're willing to share. Practice asserting these boundaries in low-stakes situations. 5. Reframe negative reactions. Recognize that other people's opinions are reflections of their values, not indictments of your choices. This perspective can reduce the emotional weight of judgment. When you stop explaining yourself, you free up energy to focus on what truly matters, living a life that aligns with your values. This freedom can enhance your relationships, career, and overall well-being. People who respect you will accept your choices without requiring justification. Those who don't are unlikely to change their minds, no matter how much you explain. Stopping the habit of over-explaining is a journey, not an overnight transformation. It requires mindfulness, practice, and patience. Start with small decisions, like declining an invitation without a detailed excuse. Gradually, this practice will extend to larger life choices, empowering you to live with greater authenticity and peace. Your life is yours to live, and your choices are yours to make. By refusing to explain yourself, you reclaim your autonomy and cultivate self-respect. Remember the wisdom of the Dhammapada: do not look for approval, but live your truth. Trust yourself, honor your journey, and embrace the freedom that comes with living unapologetically. Number 4, keep your distance. Not everyone deserves unrestricted access to your life. Some people, whether intentionally or unintentionally, bring negativity, disrupt your peace, or hinder your personal growth. It's essential to recognize these dynamics and understand that creating distance is a valid and sometimes necessary step toward a healthier and more fulfilling life. This isn't about anger, avoidance, or punishment. It's about protecting your energy and fostering environments where you can thrive. By doing so, you honor your well-being and set the stage for meaningful growth, both personally and in your relationships. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your emotional, physical, and mental space. They're not walls to shut people out, but rather filters to let the right kind of interactions in. Without boundaries, your life can become cluttered with others, expectations, demands, and negativity. Keeping your distance is a boundary in action. It's a declaration that you value your peace and are willing to prioritize it, even when it's uncomfortable or misunderstood by others. Take a moment to reflect on your interactions. Are there individuals who drain your energy or make you question your worth? These are signs that some distance might be necessary. Remember, your time and energy are finite resources, and it's up to you to decide how and with whom to spend them. Years ago, I had a colleague who constantly undermined my ideas during team meetings. Their comments were dismissive, and their attitude made me question my competence. At first, I tried to win them over, thinking I could change the dynamic through kindness and collaboration. But no matter how much effort I put in, their behavior didn't change. I began to notice the toll this was taking on my mental health. I'd spend hours replaying our interactions, wondering what I could have done differently. It was exhausting and unproductive. Eventually, I made a conscious decision to minimize my interactions with them. I focused on building stronger connections with colleagues who valued and respected my contributions. The shift was liberating. Without the constant negativity, I found myself more productive, confident, and at peace. It wasn't about harboring resentment or cutting them off entirely. It was about recognizing that their behavior wasn't my responsibility to fix and that I deserved better. One of the biggest misconceptions about creating distance is that it's selfish or cruel. On the contrary, it's an act of self respect and self preservation. By stepping away from toxic dynamics, you're not only protecting yourself, but also giving the other person space to reflect and grow. Consider this: when you're constantly engaged in conflict or negativity, neither party benefits. The relationship becomes a cycle of frustration and hurt. Creating distance interrupts this cycle. It's a chance for both parties to reset, reassess, and potentially rebuild in a healthier way, or to accept that the relationship has run its course. Practical steps to create healthy distance. 1. Identify the need for distance. Pay attention to how certain people make you feel. Do you leave interactions feeling drained, belittled, or upset? These are red flags that distance might be necessary. 2. Communicate your boundaries. If appropriate, have an honest conversation. Explain your feelings without placing blame. For example, I've noticed that our interactions often leave me feeling overwhelmed. I think it's best for both of us if we take some space. 3. Limit interactions gradually. Reducing contact doesn't have to be abrupt. Start by limiting your responses to calls, texts, or invitations. Politely decline engagements that feel draining. 4. Seek support. Talk to a trusted friend, therapist, or mentor about your decision. They can provide perspective and encouragement as you navigate this change. 5. Focus on positive relationships. Redirect your energy toward people who uplift and support you. These relationships will reinforce the value of your decision to create distance elsewhere. Number 6. Practice self-compassion. It's normal to feel guilt or doubt when you create distance. Remind yourself that prioritizing your well-being is not only valid but necessary. The benefits of keeping your distance. 1. Emotional freedom. When you step away from toxic relationships, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and negativity. This emotional clarity allows you to focus on what truly matters in your life. Number 2. Improved self-esteem. By asserting your boundaries, you send a powerful message to yourself: I am worthy of respect. This affirmation can boost your confidence and self-worth. 3. Space for personal growth. Distance provides the opportunity to reflect and grow without the interference of negative influences. It's a chance to rediscover your passions, strengths, and goals. Number 4. Healthier relationships. When you remove toxic dynamics, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. These relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and support. Sometimes keeping your distance evolves into a permanent separation. This can be a difficult but necessary decision. Not all relationships are meant to last a lifetime, and that's okay. Ending a toxic relationship doesn't mean you failed. It means you've chosen to prioritize your well-being. If you find yourself in this situation, give yourself permission to grieve the loss. Acknowledge the good times and lessons learned, but don't let nostalgia pull you back into an unhealthy dynamic. Trust that letting go creates space for new opportunities and relationships that align with your values and goals. At its core, creating distance is an act of compassion for yourself and others. For yourself, it's an acknowledgement of your worth, and a commitment to your peace. For others, it's a recognition that the current dynamic isn't serving either of you. Sometimes people need space to recognize their own patterns and grow. By stepping back, you give them the gift of reflection. Whether they choose to change is up to them, but your choice to prioritize your well being sets a powerful example. Keeping your distance isn't about building walls or cutting people off impulsively. It's about discerning which relationships nourish your soul and which deplete it. It's about creating a life filled with positivity, growth, and meaningful connections. Remember, you have the right to protect your energy and prioritize your peace. By doing so, you not only honor yourself, but also pave the way for healthier, more balanced relationships in the future. Embrace the power of distance. It's a tool for growth, peace, and a life well lived. Number 5, hold your head high, confidence as a shield. Disrespect often aims to make you feel small, to diminish your sense of self-worth, and shake your resolve. It's a tactic that seeks to undermine, to pull you into a spiral of self-doubt. But there's a simple yet profound way to counteract this. Hold your head high. When you carry yourself with confidence, you disrupt this cycle. Confidence acts as a shield, deflecting negativity and affirming your self-respect. Holding your head high isn't just about physical posture, though standing tall and looking forward does have an immediate impact on how others perceive you and how you feel about yourself. It's about embodying self-respect in all aspects of your life. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and refusing to let others define it for you. Self-respect is the cornerstone of confidence. When you hold your head high, you signal to the world that you value yourself. This doesn't mean arrogance or dismissing others. Rather, it's a quiet assurance that you are enough, just as you are. Take, for example, a teacher who was once ridiculed for their unconventional methods. The criticism was sharp and persistent, aimed at undermining their confidence and questioning their approach. Instead of shrinking back or responding defensively, this teacher stood tall, met the criticism with grace, and continued their work with unwavering dedication. Over time, their confidence and commitment to their methods not only silenced the naysayers, but also inspired admiration and respect. Their ability to hold their head high became a beacon of strength for others, showing that self-respect is a powerful force. Buddha's teachings offer timeless wisdom on the importance of self-control and inner strength. The Dhammapada teaches us, "He who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers 1,000 in battle." This profound statement underscores the value of mastering one's own mind and emotions. Holding your head high is a reflection of this mastery. It's about choosing dignity over reaction, composure over chaos. Imagine walking through a marketplace where merchants call out, some kind and others critical. Buddha taught that just as a lotus flower rises above muddy water, we too can rise above negativity. By holding your head high, you transcend the noise and remain anchored in your own sense of worth. Modern psychology supports the transformative power of confidence. Studies have shown that adopting a confident posture, standing tall, shoulders back, chin up, not only changes how others perceive you, but also influences your own mindset. This phenomenon, often referred to as power posing, triggers a cascade of positive hormonal changes, boosting testosterone and lowering cortisol levels. In essence, how you carry yourself can directly impact how you feel and perform. Confidence also creates a feedback loop. When you project self-assurance, others are more likely to respond positively, reinforcing your sense of confidence. This loop is a powerful tool for navigating challenging situations, whether it's facing criticism, delivering a presentation, or pursuing a goal. Holding your head high is a small act with a significant ripple effect. Practical steps to cultivate confidence. 1. Mind your posture. Start with the basics. Stand tall, align your shoulders, and keep your chin level. Practice walking with purpose, as if you have somewhere important to be. 2. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness. Acknowledge your strengths and forgive your flaws. Confidence grows when you accept yourself wholeheartedly. 3. Prepare and practice. Confidence often stems from competence. Whether it's a skill, knowledge, or task, preparation builds a strong foundation for confidence. 4. Adopt a growth mindset. Embrace challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. Even setbacks become stepping stones when viewed through this lens. Number 5. Surround yourself with positivity. Seek out relationships and environments that uplift and inspire you. Limit exposure to negativity and criticism that isn't constructive. Consider the story of a young entrepreneur pitching their idea to a panel of skeptical investors. The questions were relentless, the doubts palpable. But instead of faltering, they held their head high, spoke with conviction, and demonstrated unwavering belief in their vision. Their confidence didn't guarantee success, but it commanded respect and opened doors for further opportunities. This scenario illustrates how holding your head high can change the trajectory of a challenging situation. Another example is found in the world of sports. Athletes often face intense scrutiny and pressure. Those who hold their head high, regardless of the outcome, exemplify resilience. A tennis player, for instance, who loses a match but walks off the court with dignity, head held high, earns admiration not just for their skill, but for their character. When you hold your head high, you inspire others to do the same. Confidence is contagious. A leader who walks into a room with self-assurance sets the tone for their team. A parent who faces challenges with composure teaches their children the value of resilience. A friend who remains optimistic during tough times becomes a source of strength for their circle. This ripple effect extends beyond individuals to communities and cultures. Societies that value and cultivate confidence empower their members to strive for greatness, to innovate, and to overcome adversity. Holding your head high, therefore, isn't just a personal act. It's a contribution to a collective spirit of strength and possibility. Adversity tests our resolve, but it also offers an opportunity to showcase our strength. Holding your head high during difficult times is a testament to resilience. It's about facing challenges with courage, even when the odds are stacked against you. Take the example of historical figures who faced immense adversity yet refused to bow down. Nelson Mandela, after spending 27 years in prison, emerged with his head held high, ready to lead his nation toward reconciliation. His confidence and dignity became a symbol of hope and strength for millions. In everyday life, holding your head high might mean speaking up against injustice, pursuing a dream despite setbacks, or simply refusing to let criticism define you. It's about choosing strength over surrender. Holding your head high is more than a posture. It's a philosophy. It's about walking with dignity, rooted in self-respect and resilience. Whether inspired by the teachings of Buddha, the principles of psychology, or real-life stories of perseverance, the message is clear. Confidence is a shield that protects and empowers. When you hold your head high, you affirm your worth. You deflect negativity and radiate strength. And in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but also inspire those around you to rise above and walk with dignity. So hold your head high and let your confidence light the way. Disrespect is a test of our inner strength, a challenge that invites us to rise above negativity and affirm our own value. How we respond to disrespect reveals more about us than it does about the person who disrespects us. Through mindfulness and deliberate action, we can transform moments of conflict into opportunities for growth and self-respect. When faced with disrespect, it's natural to feel hurt or defensive. However, these reactions, though understandable, can sometimes escalate the situation or compromise our peace of mind. Instead, consider these guiding principles. Silence as strength. Silence is not weakness. On the contrary, it is a powerful tool of self-control and resilience. When we choose silence over retaliation, we reclaim our power. This act of restraint allows us to process our emotions, assess the situation, and respond, if necessary, from a place of clarity and strength. Mindfulness teaches us that silence creates space. In that space, we can let go of the need to prove ourselves to others. Silence speaks volumes, signaling that we refuse to engage in negativity and are secure in our own worth. Boundaries as shields. Creating boundaries is an essential act of self-respect. Boundaries are not walls that shut others out. They are guidelines that protect our emotional and mental well-being. By setting clear limits on how we allow others to treat us, we assert our worth and cultivate healthier relationships. When someone disrespects you, it is not only your right, but your responsibility to create distance. This may mean stepping away from a toxic conversation, limiting interactions with certain individuals, or even cutting ties when the disrespect is habitual and harmful. Boundaries are a form of self care that ensure your peace remains intact. Confidence as armor. Confidence disarms negativity. When you stand tall in the face of disrespect, you send a clear message. Your value is not up for debate. Confidence is not about arrogance, it's about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it. Confidence comes from within, but it can be bolstered by small, consistent actions. Practice positive affirmations, maintain good posture, and cultivate gratitude for your strengths and achievements. Over time, these habits create an unshakable belief in your own value, making it easier to handle challenges with grace. At the heart of these strategies lies mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware. Mindfulness allows us to respond to disrespect thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. It encourages us to observe our emotions without judgment, giving us the clarity to choose actions aligned with our values. Through mindfulness, we learn to separate our worth from the opinions of others. We come to understand that disrespect often stems from the other person's insecurities or struggles, not from any failing on our part. This perspective fosters compassion and reduces the emotional sting of negative interactions. The lessons of resilience and respect are not just for individuals, they are the foundation of a stronger, more compassionate community. By embodying these principles, we inspire others to do the same. Imagine a world where everyone practices silence over conflict, sets healthy boundaries, and radiates confidence. Such a world begins with each of us. As we navigate life's challenges, let us commit to treating ourselves and others with dignity. Disrespect will inevitably arise, but with mindfulness and the tools of resilience, we can handle it with grace and integrity. Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If this video resonated with you, we encourage you to take these lessons to heart and share them with others. Together, we can create a ripple effect of wisdom and respect that touches countless lives. Remember, respect starts within. When we honor ourselves, we teach others how to treat us. When we approach life with mindfulness, we elevate not only our own experience, but also the world around us. What are your thoughts on handling disrespect with mindfulness? Have you faced situations where these principles have helped you maintain your peace and self-respect? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's inspire one another to rise above negativity and build a community grounded in resilience and grace.